So, welcome to the DBT full course for beginners. My name is Eric Agre. I'm a senior data engineer based in Budapest, Hungary. So, what is DBT? So, DBT stands for Data Build Tool. It's a transformation tool that allows us to transform raw data in our data warehouse, such as Snowflake, Databricks, PostgreSQL, to transform data, all using the SQL that we are familiar with. It has a very familiar workflow similar to what we have in software engineering, such as we develop our models, we test our models, we document our models, and even deploy our models using version control and CI/CD. So if you're not familiar with what CI/CD is, it means continuous integration and continuous development. It's kind of a workflow where developers just push their code and it goes straight to like production in an easy way. So you're going to see that in this course as we do most of our development work together. So this is how it works. So DBT does not actually load your data. So what it does is your data that is, for example, in your Snowflake data warehouse is what DBT writes query against and transform that data using the SQL language that you're familiar with into transform data. And this transform data is the data that we are going to be able to use to build, for example, our visuals using a tool, say Power BI. So DBT is in the transformation part. So it's in, you see the process here is ELT. So the CSV file is extracted and loaded into the cloud data warehouse called Snowflake, for example. And then DBT is used to transform the data within the Snowflake data warehouse. And then we use that data, the transformed data, to build our reports or to serve third-party applications. So normally you have ETL, so you extract, then you transform and you load. But with the help of DBT, we now have this way of doing things called ELT. So extract, load, and transform. So we are going to be setting up DBT next. So in order to set up DBT, it's good we understand the two flavors we have here. So we have DBT Core. DBT Core is free. It's the open source version. So it's not foundation, but open source version. It provides the core functionality for transforming, documenting, and testing your data. So you will use DBT Core for writing your SQL and running it from the command line. So DBT Core works on our PC. So that's what we're going to be using if we want to set up things locally without using the cloud. So it has DBT Cloud. DBT Cloud is like this website, this hosted service where we go sign up and then we're able to do the same thing we could do on our PC, for example, using like VS Code on the cloud. So that's what DBT Cloud provides. So the differences here is in terms of like the cost. One is free, then DBT Cloud is kind of like a paid service, but it also has a way. So if you want to, like, for example, create a personal project, you could do that free forever. So it requires local setup, while the other one is a fully managed service. No setup is required. So the other one uses a command line interface, whether the other one uses a web-based UI. So you see, it requires additional to build-in scheduler. And then you could see for collaboration, you do the manual setup. But for DBT Cloud, it is already there for you. So this one is best for like small teams and people learning DBT, which I kind of feel that DBT Cloud also is also good for learning DBT because the setup, for the fact that the setup is easy, it also makes it easy for you to learn. But if you have like internet issues, then you could do everything locally too. So as you could see here, they say it free forever. So this is DBT Cloud. This is how the website looks like when you want to sign up. So you go to getdbt.com/sign up, and then you're going to see free forever for one developer, you see. So even though it's kind of like a paid service, it still has like an entry level here for someone who just want to like learn DBT or use it to kind of like practice. So you still have this capability embedded in the site for you. So we're going to be going to the site now to sign up, to see how we can sign up and possibly connect it to Snowflake and start doing our development. So this is how the sign up page looks like. So here you could see I've put on my email, I put on my name, a name of a company, then there's a password, and then there's a confirm password. Then here I could choose if, for example, how I knew about DBT. So I'm just putting search engine here, and then do I agree to the terms and conditions? Then I click here to agree that I'm not a robot. So when I create this account here, an email is going to be sent to me. So I'm supposed to click create, but I've already created an account, so there's no need doing it twice. So the next thing I need to do is just go to login. So this is how the login page looks like. So, but before you log in, there's a step that you need to do. That step is that you need to confirm from the email you use. So a confirmation mail will be sent to you to verify your mail. So you're going to do that. And then when you do that, you need to come here and then you sign into your account. So on signing into your account, you'll be asked to create a project. So I'm going to create Hello DBT. So this is the name of my project here. So you click on continue. Then you're going to choose the data warehouse you're going to be using, for example, Snowflake. And then we're going to be providing the settings here for Snowflakes. So if you got your mail, so when you created your Snowflake account, there's this, there's this portion of the account. So this is that. So you have it like HTTP in front, and then here you have like .snowflake. So I'm going to show you that how it looks like, how I extracted this portion from that account. So this is what I'm talking about. So this is the mail that was sent to me. So this is my username, and then this section of the account before I get to, so this, when you look at this account, so I'm going to copy it here. Let me copy it here. Then I'm going to take it to this place. So when I paste it here, you're going to see that this section up till here, where you have the .snowflake, I'm going to take it out. Then I'm also going to take out this HTTP section. Then for the database, I'm going to go to Snowflake to create a database. So let me go create a database on Snowflake. So this is the Snowflake website. So what I'm going to do here is that I'm just going to click on the data, the tab here called data. So within here, I'm going to see database. So I'm going to create a database. So I'm going to be creating a new database. I'm going to call it DBT. I'm going to put _3. So this is what I'm going to do. Then I'm going to click on create. So this is the database I'm going to use when I'm creating my DBT. So let's go back to that page. So within here, I'm going to put DBT3 here. Then I'm going to provide my data warehouse name. So I'm going to show you how I will get this data warehouse name now. So this is how you get the name of the data warehouse. So you need to come to this admin section, and then you have this warehouses section. So here you want to open the warehouse if you want, and then you could copy it from here and then take it to the UI. So this is where I pasted it from. We can leave the rule as empty. For the username and password, also in the mail, your username is there. This is my username, and I also have a password. So I'm going to be inputting my password. So this is my password. Then this is the schema that will be created in Snowflake. So I'm going to, for example, just say DBT _3 or _schema. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to say DBT schema. Then I'm going to leave everything as it is. Then I'm going to test the connection to see whether everything is working very well. So you see, so just give it some time now. So it's testing the connection. And if everything works well, we're going to see it here show complete like it's shown here. So I'm going to go next. And now I need to provide like my connection to GitHub. So if you have a GitHub account, so what you just do is you click on connect. So this automatically connects it to your GitHub account. So you just click on this, and then you're going to have like this, for example. It's going to tell you to configure Git integration. For example, you see here. So it has already, I already have a repository connected here. So this is, so I need to search which repository. For now, I just want to go for manage. That means I'm not connecting it to GitHub. So using GitHub for this account, for this project right now. So I'm just going to call it Snowflake as Snowflake DBT as the name of my repo. So Snowflake DBT, then I'm going to click on create. So I didn't connect it to GitHub or GitLab. So if you want to, you could click here and it will just pop up a dialog box, and then you do the connection to any of this. And then the next thing you want to do is, of course, do the creating of the project. So when we create the project, we need to start developing our IDE. So the DBT Cloud DBT provide us this option to develop our models directly here in the cloud. So I'm just going to click here to open the IDE. So when the IDE opens, so we're just going to give it some time to open. So now that the IDE it's opening. It's taking some time to load. So it's done now. So now it's done. So the next thing we need to do is initialize our project. So we need to click here to initialize our project. So I'm going to click here to initialize my DBT project. So there's something I want to show you down here. You can run all your DBT commands from here. So you could decide to run all your DBT commands from here. So this is exactly what you can do. So for example, if you see now, we could give a commit message to say init. So I will just say dbt init done. So that's what I'm going to put here. So dbt init done. So I will commit my changes. And you see everything is done. So I could create a new branch and I will just call this one my branch. So, and then I'm going to click on submit. This is going to create a new branch. And then we can start working on our project. So let's see what is happening here. So if you look at here, you discover that the main section here is these models. So I'm not going to talk much about the other parts, but I'm going to talk about these models and some of the configuration files we have here. So in these models, you have some files here. So these files, there are two files, SQL files here. So these SQL files, if we run this model now, they will actually be materialized as tables on Snowflake. So we will go to Snowflake and we'll see tables being created that have the same name. Why will tables be created? If you look at it here, so this file tells us that anything that is in this model/example file will be materialized as a table. That means the SQL files that are here will be materialized as tables. So let's open the SQL file and see what is inside. So if you see here, this is kind of how DBT represents its own models. So these are the models. So here you can see there's a CTE here that was written. You can also put this config materialize as table here. And then you could see the models down here also. It's giving us this nice view to tell us. So these models will actually be created as tables in Snowflake. So let's see what happens. Let's run the command dbt run just to see what happens. So if we want, we could also say dbt build before we do the run. So we could say dbt build and then we could press enter and let's see what happens, whether everything is going to pass successfully. So it's this one, it failed because it could not test. So the test failed. So, but if we do dbt run, it's going to actually deploy. Even though the test failed, when we do dbt run, it will actually deploy these models. It's just a test that failed, but it will actually deploy this model to Snowflake. Let's see whether this will be successful too. You see the run was successful, but when we did a build, it was not successful because it failed some of the tests. So let me show you here, because if you look at this YAML file here, so there are some tests here, unique and not null, that were defined for each of the models. So you see, these are the models. This is the first models that matches the name of this file. And then this is the second model that matches the name of this file. So we're going to go now to our Snowflake UI to see if these tables were actually created in the database that we supplied when creating the DBT Cloud account. So let's see, or the DBT Cloud project. So this is the Snowflake UI. So let's go to the data here. So we go to DBT tree because that was the project we created. You could see here we have DBT schema. And then under DBT schema, we have two tables. Look at them. So they directly match these tables here. So you could see this is the name of this table. That means the tables actually got pushed to the Snowflake. So that means the connection worked and the models were successfully written to Snowflake. So the next thing we're going to do is to try to create the account locally on our PC.